Ladies and gentlemen, I'll first introduce the students I've got here, and then they will each share with you why they chose this course, what made them choose the course, and how they found, how it's changed the way they used to think about the Indian culture, and if there's any special impact that the course has made on them, or what is it that impressed them the most. Sitting next to me is Lillian. Lillian took this course, and she was taught by Professor Valpay, and her major subject was translation. Sitting next to Lillian is Alice Wong. She graduated already from the university, and her major subject was English literature. And currently, she's an executive officer in events management. And then next to her is Gordon Lee. Gordon is a first-year student at the Chinese University of Hong Kong. He's in the Department of Journalism and Communications, and he's also one of the students who has taken this course. And then we've got Jason. Jason is a third-year student in the Department of Government and Public Administration. He will also be sharing with us how he feels about the course, and in fact he was really impressed by the movie Gandhi. And then we've got Ronald Yip. Ronald is a third-year student in quantitative finance, and he will share with us some of his thoughts. And then Vicky, who would be concluding the sharing session, is a third-year student in politics, and she has spent apparently a month in India. So we've got all these students here. So before I hand over the mic to Lillian, Lillian starts the sharing. She's one of the first batch of students when the course was first introduced in the Chinese University. So Lillian, can you share with us why you chose this course and how you felt about the course, how it's changed your way of thinking or your life, or how you look at things now?
Hi everybody, my name is Lillian. As mentioned by Asha, I'm the first batch of a student who took the course named Hinduism, Tradition and Modernity. And at that time, I think it was in 2007, I was a year 2 student. And at that time, usually university students are very curious. We have the ability to question. So at that time, I asked a lot of questions. For example, who am I? Where am I from? So why people they suffer? Some people suffer a lot, and some were born in rich families. So I have these kinds of doubts, and I want to look for answers. And very interestingly, when I was looking at the list of courses, I saw one title which captured my attention, and it's Hinduism, Tradition and Modernity. Because at that time, the Department of Cultural and Religious Studies, they usually open courses only about Buddhism, Christianity, but not Hinduism. And when I look at the title, I was like, wow, it's new, it's something new. So I want to see what's going on inside. So I took the course, and I never regretted my decision to take the course, because the course is really interesting, and it showed me what India really is. Because before taking the course, I thought that India to me is a very ancient civilization. There are many gods, and then it's a very powerful country, and it's growing, and that's it. So my understanding of my knowledge about India is so superficial. But after taking the course, I think it really, the professor really opened my eyes, especially to the literature of India, the Vedic literature. Because during the course, we study a little bit of Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata, and I started to understand the philosophy inside, and it really impressed me. And I remember one class we saw the movie, we watched the movie Mahabharata, and there's one little episode which Arjun, he was shooting the eye of a bird, and the image remained in my mind for such a long time. And now I'm working. I'm no longer a student, but I'm still reading Bhagavad Gita and studying it. because I find the knowledge is so profound, and it's really interesting. Yeah, and I really appreciate the culture of India, and now I'm practicing Indian faith. So it's really a big change in my life, because before I was a Christian. And I want to ask Alexis, I know you are also like working. So you took the course, the same course as me. So could you share with us what impact has the course brought to you? Yeah.
Thank you, Lillian. I'm Alexis. So I took the course Tradition and Modernity in India in 2009. So now I've been working, but I think the impact of the course are still with me, because when I was studying the course, two of the most impressive topics to me was the Bhakti Yoga as well as Dharma. And for me, because just like Lillian, I was asking a lot of questions when I was a university student. I was asking, what's the meaning of life? Why are people suffering? And why are some people not suffering and they are very wealthy? Things like that. And I have been studying in Catholic school since kindergarten, and I believe in Jesus Christ and God. But there is something in the Catholic culture that made me not really devoted. But then when I studied the course Tradition and Modernity in India, I found something that's really impressive to me. For example, the topic Dharma, it makes me understand that we work because we have some constitutional duties prescribed by God, and also the meaning of work doesn't mean that we really need to work real hard for a lot of money, but because we need to work for God and contribute our fruits of work to God. So for me, I think it is a really meaningful and useful topic to me, because now I've been working and every day I have to work for long hours. But sometimes I really ask myself, what's the purpose of working so hard? And because I don't have a lot of free time to do my own stuff, and sometimes I feel really frustrated. But when I think about the topic Dharma and Bhakti Yoga, I understand that I need to work for my own duty, and also I have my responsibility to contribute my fruits of work to God. And in this way, I find the ultimate meaning of life. So I think it is really important for the people in Hong Kong to understand the teachings in Bhagavad Gita. And so that's why I think the courses are really important to the students, because although they may not get the meaning immediately, at least it plants and seeds into their hearts. Yeah. So I think, Gordon, you also have some similar realization when you are studying, so can you share with us?
Hello everyone, I'm Gordon, and I also took the course of Traditions and Modernity in India, but it was in 2010. And I think Professor Falpi really gave a wonderful lecture, and I especially like the part of sadhus and karma yoga. And after learning karma yoga, I learned that how to, detach your result from your action. Because before, I used to care too much about the result, and without the result or the desires, people cannot, progress or to do more things. So, but after, actually after reading the Bhagavad Gita, I think I really got the gist of the karma yoga. That is to detach or to not care about the results, but still to work hard for something that you need to do. You need to fulfill your responsibility, but not in a way to pursue a goal or pursue something. And I think this really helped me because I am free of pressure then, but I still work very hard. Many of my friends question how can I do such a thing? How can I still be hardworking but not asking for something? But I told them, this is very natural when you, after reading Bhagavad Gita and practicing meditation. And I really find the course, and I hope I can still apply this in my future. And But I think some days I will still go into a real renunciation. So, Jason, what is your view on renunciation?
Well, thanks, Gordon, for your reflection on renunciation. And I've taken the same course as Gordon's, and I think renunciation to me is quite inspiring because in Hong Kong there is a mentality that the more you have, the happier you are, and you are a step closer to happiness. No matter those are material possessions or spiritual possessions, no matter they are your property, your money, friendships, kinship, and love. But the teaching from Indian tradition is that you better voluntarily detach from all these worldly possessions. Because it seems rather difficult for you to abandon them when you are dying, so you will feel much painful when that day comes. I won't say I'm 100% believer or follower of renunciation and detachment, because in Hong Kong it's quite difficult to apply renunciation, and quite obviously I can never become a sage. Luxurious life to me means a lot sometimes, if not all the times. But still, I think renunciation is very good teaching and inspire me, because it gives me a new insight of what I should pursue in my life and how I should deal with the society and my everyday life. And it's very interesting from the course that I see how people in India cope with their changing tradition because of modernization. And I think India in many ways like the situation in China, because China is comparing to 30 years ago, drastic change have been done in the whole country, and modernization have been seen in every single Chinese family, I could say. So the mixture of East and West in India is very interesting to observe, and I know that Ronald will have some comments on the mixture of East and West in India, so it's now his time.
Hi. I took the course Self and Identity in Indian Culture and Religion, taught by Professor Theodore, and one of the most powerful viewpoints Professor Theodore put forward to me was actually saying that India is not only geographically in between China and the Western world, but also it is a cultural and religious gap between the East and the West. And I think it is very true. And if we want to start some sort of cultural or religious discourse, we should start by studying Indian culture or religion. And I myself have written 3 papers in his course. I've written one about nonviolence, comparing nonviolence of Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King. I've written another paper comparing Buddhism and Taoism, and I think you can really learn something new from everywhere, from each and every topic. You can learn something new, and I think Indian culture is definitely a good place to start with. And Vicky, do you have gain some new perspectives on your study?
Yes. Actually, I took the class with Jason and Gordon in Professor Webb under Professor Webb's teaching. And I'm a student of politics, and I'm doing research recently, many research. I'm very depressed and under pressure. But I think I want to have my sharing in 2 perspectives. First is academically, and the other is like a board perspective, like an inference of the course. I think academically, I'm a student from social science. I think the course is more than a cultural or a humanity one. Like, it can also influence and provide different insights to other disciplines. So, as Jason mentioned, he compared the similarities of Chinese and Chinese society and Indian society development. which is very beneficial to our study towards the predictions of like economics, politics, political change, etc., etc. It's not very interesting, I know. So this is the academic needs, that we need something to provide an insight, a general picture of how Indian, this culture, history, development is now changing. And I think it affects more than like asking people to learn the fact. It's also provide other insight and influence to other disciplines as well. So I think there is a need for us to have more materials, books, and yes, definitely books, because I don't have enough good books for the readings during my final papers. And in my university, so that students can know more about Indian culture and knowledge. And I think the other perspective is broader, as mentioned by Alice and Lillian. The course influence not just our GPA, like grade point average, but our lives. So when we are under pressure, we think of Bhagavad Gita, which is one of our reading. When we read, it's interesting, we have no pressure. The first time in my life, reading a readings without any pressure. And I actually enjoy reading it. And I think, well, I don't know what I'm talking about. And so I think this is the two great things of we have such a courses in my university, and I'm really grateful that we have this experience to learn about it. And so maybe in conclusion, please allow me to quote from Bhagavad Gita. I may be wrong because I'm a newbie in reading Bhagavad Gita, and please correct me if I do. I think there is a passage mentioned. This knowledge is the king of education. It's the purest knowledge. And because it provides a direct perception of self by realization. And am I right? I hope it's right. Thank you. So I hope if we believe this Bhagavad Gita, this statement is true, and we are proud that we believe this knowledge is good for the society and for every individual, then please grant me more books and an institution to study more. Yes, and I think we all enjoy what we learn, and we expect to learn more and study more and do more research in the future. And we firmly believe it contributes not just to us, but can be to the society as a whole. Thank you.
I personally felt very impressed when I met these students, a few of them for the first time yesterday, and told them that we were going to do this sharing session, and they each prepared what they were going to say today. And I think starting this at university level is probably the time when students have a lot of stress, pressure, they have a lot of academic work to do, and simultaneously they have some other knowledge that tell them about why they are here in their life. And we see it, we hear it from them directly. And I do feel that if the way they have expressed, if this can carry on, this rich culture that we have, they will be spreading it, and there will be more students taking it, and in years to come, from the 100 or 50 students we have now, we will multiply and multiply this knowledge and spread it to more people, and we can share it.